Guess what? Storm season is upon us. We've just got into autumn and there's a big storm coming tomorrow. Yes, it's true, and it's not looking good. This is going to affect most parts of the country. They are predicting that this is going to go up to, or maybe even over, 80 miles per hour. Yes, significant. If you don't think that's very strong, stick around and find out. It's crazy. And also a big dumping of rain as well. So if you are not prepared in any way, you could become a victim very easily. Now, this seems to be like a line. If you imagine a line from Land's End all the way to Skegness, and then go up to right to the top of Northern Ireland, all the way to Dundee. Everything in that area is going to be affected from tomorrow. Yes, from tomorrow. So if you didn't know about this, I'm not sure what's being talked about in the mainstream or anything like that. But if any of you watching are in that area, you may need to do something to ensure your chances are better than others. Now, apparently this warning was issued and they are saying that it's got injuries and danger to life from flying objects. A danger to life. Yes. In brackets, significantly disruptive, strong winds will cause damage to buildings. Okay, so this isn't just a tiny little windy storm and it'll all blow over. They are saying this could get quite crazy. Now, this is remnants of Hurricane Lee and Nigel coming over it from the United States. It's a typical thing. It happens every year here in the UK, and we've got the Gulf Stream. It all comes up from America over to where we are. And yes, they were proper hurricanes. And obviously, the further it leaves where them zones were, the weaker it gets. But nonetheless, 80-mile-an-hour winds and heavy rain is going to cause big issues. Now, I hope that no one dies from this, because it does happen. It happens a lot every year. People die from falling trees, all sorts of things, okay? So basically, the advice which they're putting out there is to be careful when driving, moreover, overtaking. Now, I don't remember reading anything like this from any storm warnings before. They advise that people keep two hands on the wheel and they slow down a little. I think they're emphasising the fact of being buffered from side to side. And if you're going fast, that could be big problems, okay? But the strange thing is, off the back of this freak storm, and they're saying it's only going to be 2 to 3 days, okay? So it's not going to be a whole week of an intense storm. So this is literally just going to go across that part of the country, which we talked about earlier. But guess what? Guess what they're saying for next week? From Tuesday, here in the UK, we're going to have another heat wave. How bizarre is that? Now, for the last couple of years, we do seem to be getting more nicer periods of weather in September. But this is going to be in October. This is different. Well, I don't think we've had an Indian summer in October. Not that I can remember. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. Let me know in the comments if you remember being in the UK in October and having a heat wave. Now, they are predicting it's going to be from and maybe above 23 degrees C. So from Tuesday next week for a whole week, we are going to have a heat wave. Now, it would be interesting to see if this actually passes. If it does, and the sooner we get to Tuesday, and it's looking more likely, if you did have any holiday time left from work or something like that, it might be a good idea to sort of book that week off and enjoy some nice sunny weather. Because let's face it, this year, especially here in the middle of Wales where I live, in the mountains, in the Cambrian mountains, we've probably had about 3, maybe 3.5 weeks solid of beautiful weather dotted around the whole year. It's not that much. So this is a bit of a godsend having that. So going back to this this storm which is coming tomorrow. Now, I'm hoping that people take heed from this and look into certain things which is going to help. So they've already mentioned power cuts as well. So the power going out. I think in America, the guys over there call it a power out or a power outage. Here in the UK, we call it a power cut. So think about those things. How easy would you be able to go through 2 to 3 days without any electricity. Would that be an issue? Would you still be able to keep your fridge and your freezer running? Would you still be able to cook food for your families? Would you be able to turn the lights on at night time if you really needed to do something at home? Have you got anything which you can use which is basically off grid? So you can really start from the bare basics. I know lots of us are on a budget, so you look at things like candles, cheap torches, okay, all of these sorts of things, a little camping stove with a little cheap gas container. All of these things are bare basics. Have you got certain things that you can cook on it? Okay. It's no good having a great big like 13-inch frying pan on top of a tiny little gas stove. Have you got a smaller cooking pot or something like that? Something that you can boil water, you can put a kettle on. Most people have the kettles which you just plug into the mains, boom. Have you got something which requires a flame to heat it? So we're talking, if the power goes out for 2 or 3 days, I do know that there's going to be lots of people out there who are going to really find that a pain, and they're really going to suffer needlessly. Okay, I am fully aware that most people who watch this YouTube channel are preppers. Some guys and girls watching this are new to the prepping scene, who are just starting. Hey, maybe if you've started today and you've found this, congratulations. If you consider subscribing to the channel, that'd be great. Hitting the notification bells, then you're not going to miss out on any of these prepping videos. Because what you don't want to do, you don't want to be in a position where you go to your car and it's been wind damaged. You break down in the middle of nowhere. You've got no kit and equipment in the vehicle to help you through that bad time. Okay, so even the bare basics. I mean, if you want me to, I will do a video based on the kit that I carry in my vehicle as we head towards the winter months. Okay, so bare basics would be a breakdown kit. So if you break down, a tree falls in front of you on the road and you can't get past, and you go backwards and there's queues of traffic, it's all jammed up and you have to stay there, what are you going to do? Okay, are you still able to keep warm in your car? Have you got any water? Have you got any snacks? Have you got any blankets? Bare basic things. Have you got a car charger in your phone? So you need to make that call to say to friends and loved ones that you're going to be late, you're held up, you're stuck for whatever reason. Because when storm season hits here in the UK, it is absolutely going to be a certainty that trees will fall down. Trees will fall down, they will block paths. At extreme events, they land on cars, and unfortunately, sometimes there's people in them cars and they are not here today. This happens all the time, believe it or not. It's true. So to get a heads up that we have got a storm coming, at least we've got time to sort of plan and prepare as we go through this evening. Little things, go out to your garden. Are there little things which you feel strong winds could pick up and throw around the garden and smash through your greenhouse or something? Okay, just do yourself a favour, go out there with a torch, check around to make sure everything's locked down and secure. That's the bare minimum of things to do. And like I said, if and when the power goes out, what are you going to do? Have you got candles? If you haven't, try and pop out and get some or something, because otherwise you are going to be scratching around in the darkness. You could be cold. You might be hungry. All you've got is an electric cooker. It's no longer working. You haven't got a stove. What are you going to do? So this is the core prepper mentality. Don't be that guy to sort of go to the shop to try and get batteries and stuff and there's a run on it. It sounds extreme, but we're thinking of what happens in America, where there's lots of preppers out there in hurricane zones. Okay, they've already got water, batteries, torches, or flashlights, as they say in America. They've got dried food that we can rehydrate and use because it stores for a long time. All of these things. See or look upon this storm which is coming tomorrow as a heads up. Okay, see how you fare going through it. If there's any problems, learn from it, because as we go through the next 4 months or so, these storms are going to get more frequent and more severe. And if what happens tomorrow hasn't taught you anything, and you don't think it's worthwhile planning and preparing for something like this, one day it's going to bite you on the ass. And when it happens, if you've got a family, what's going to happen to them? How are they going to fare? So all this message is really is giving you guys a heads up that yes, we've got some seriously strong winds coming over the next 2 to 3 days, and it could be, what did they say? A threat to human life. So when they start saying things like that, I think it'll be crazy to completely ignore it. It's crazy. So do what you think you need to do. Make sure that you stay safe. And like I always say, especially the winter months, is if you've got local elderly neighbours, check on those. Make sure that if the power does go out in the whole street, it's happened to me loads of times when I live down south, knock on their door, see how they're getting on. You don't want to have really good people in your community struggling, cold, dark and hungry because you've failed to prepare for it. You guys take care. Thanks for watching. Stay funky.